Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Here we are doing one on a Sunday. I haven't done a show on a Sunday since 3 weeks ago, actually. Super Bowl, last one we're going to do. We said during the offseason we wouldn't do Sunday shows, but here we are. We're full of surprises. Thanks to Mario, we're even full of more surprises. We're doing it 2 hours earlier than we even thought we were. So here we are. Again, if you're new to the show and you haven't subscribed, we appreciate the subscribing. Thumbs up, man, is always there. Every single show, we appreciate the thumbs up. And just the fact that you're able to jump in, ask questions, we appreciate it as well. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, Mario Heron, talking Charger football with you all season long. Of course, we love the regular season, but this is pretty exciting as well as the team is trying to get better. Guys, all the talk this week and, of course, around the NFL is the Combine. And we kind of shared our feelings on the last show about what we thought at the Combine, about how important is the Combine and what are you going to see at the Combine. And well, you're seeing new records, and you're going to see new records all the time. Someone that can jump higher, has giant hands, someone who runs a little bit faster. But at the same time, how much are you guys watching of the NFL Combine?
Dude, I don't watch as much as I used to when I was a kid. I don't know what it is, but I think a big part of it is the top guys at the top of the draft aren't participating. And I understand why they're not. We talked about that on the last show. But I'm not watching because I don't know who a lot of these guys are. I did watch the running backs because I think the Chargers are going to get at least one of those guys. But I don't watch it as much as I used to.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't watch as much as I used to. I more just catch the highlights of like someone going, oh, this person just benched, 225 30 times. I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. I'm going to watch that. Or like the good old 40 times. I love like those. I don't know why, Dave. I love the hand sizes. Like, I love that. Like, I have no idea why, but it's like a weird one I'm obsessed with. And also apologies to everyone. Hand up. It was my fault. I screwed up the times. So I was pretty stupid on that part. I wrote it down wrong. Yeah. And what are you going to do? I was almost held back in second grade. So that's on you guys.
Wait, what? Did you say I was almost held back in second grade? So that's on you guys?
I mean, look, there's a couple attention issues. There's a lot of issues going on. Little reading issues, speaking issues. But now we've made it. We just screw up times now.
All right, let's not live in the past. You persevered. Now look. Look at you. People tune in to listen to what you're going to say next, right?
Good
make
for them.
Hearts, make fireworks go off with your hands. I mean,
superpower.
Look at that. That is a superpower. That is.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? All right. The hand thing, by the way, I think is only interesting on quarterbacks. Like when it came out that Kenny Pickett's hands were like 4 inches long, and you're like, 4 inches long? That's ridiculous. You're a quarterback. How do you hold an NFL football? They weren't 4 inches. No joke. It was like 8. And you're going, well, you threw a college football. And then he's saying, well, how important is it to have decent sized hands as a quarterback? Look, in cold weather cities, it is really important. Right? You ask the people in Buffalo, ask the people, in Pittsburgh, ask the people in New England. If your hands aren't big enough and you fumble the ball in a crucial situation, people are going to remember it. And so it is important. The hand thing doesn't bother me. I used to always watch the 40s and all this stuff and argue with people who say the times aren't accurate. I'm like, they look accurate to me. I mean, they're digital. It's done by a laser beam. I don't know what to tell you. People who want to fight that there's no way guys are as fast as it says they are. Guys, I used to watch it all the time. And what started to happen was guys that you heard about that were super fast or super strong, they weren't good football players, and I felt like I was wasting a week of my time. So I'm like, I'll figure it out. All I know is I'm going to go back to what I told you guys a week ago. I want to see quality players against quality competition. That's what other GMs have told me in the past is the biggest key. How do these guys play in big games against quality teams? And so overall, looking to see what the Chargers are looking for, I don't care about the fastest guy. There was a great article today, and I'd give credit to where it was. It was like the all-time fastest guys over the last 10 years, that played either one game or 2 games in the league. And you realized the combine was kind of a joke. And 225, benching that 12 times. I hate to tell you, if you run into a guy that's 225 in the NFL, that's rare. 2, if you just lift them up 12 times in a row or 40 times in a row, that's a penalty, a big one. That's a 15-yard penalty, grabbing a guy and lifting him 40 times in a row. It's excessive contact. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm not a combine guy anymore. I'm completely sold. I'm ready to move on for the draft.
I'm glad you brought up the fastest guys to ever run the 40. Because Xavier Worthy from Texas ran a 4.22, but they want to give him a 4.21, right? Because 4.22 would be tied. So let's just give him 4.21 to give him the record. When we all saw the laser that it wasn't 4.21, but we're going to cheat. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he went to Texas.
Of course.
But yeah, there's only one guy
Seen it
who's
100
ran
times.
one of those 4.240s that ended up being an all-pro player, and it's Chris Johnson from the Titans. Everybody else, like Dave said, was in and out of the league, including John Ross, right? The guy that ran it at 4.22 a few years ago. He was a top 10 pick because he ran that 40, and then he's out of the league in a second, right out of Washington. Yeah. I think he was in the same draft as Mike Williams and Christian McCaffrey and all those guys.
Yeah, delivers but the 40 now really fast.
Yeah, it delivers quick pizzas. But the difference to me is these guys aren't running, Mario, in pads. They're just running in shorts and T-shirts. And I don't understand the point of that. When are you going to play a game in shorts and T-shirts? When did I turn into that get off my lawn guy? I'm the get off my lawn guy. Why are we benching 225? That has nothing to do with football, Mario. Why are we having linemen do the vertical jump? I don't understand. It's a waste of time. You know what I want to see? I want to see you put a camera in the interview room. I want to see the questions and I want to see the answers, because that's the thing that gets guys drafted or not drafted. So why can't we see that part? It's the questions we're all going to want to know, right? If you're Jim Harbaugh, Joe Ortiz, you're going to ask, Blake Corum to break down tape, even though you know who he is. Let's think of a guy. You're going to ask Marvin Harrison Jr., what makes you different than other guys? Being your dad being an all-pro player, why do you think that's going to help you? I want to see all those questions to all these top guys. Malik Neighbors, all you Charger fans out there really don't know Malik Neighbors. None of us do. Brock Bowers, we really don't know him. Let's see what they're like.
I'm completely with you. And one, I'd also just love the weird questions that they would ask, because you got to throw them like a curveball, throw them off a little bit. Like, I'd love to see that. Love to hear them break down film, how they see coverages, how they expose coverages, how they know when to run what type of route. Go back over film of some of their best games, but also go over the film of some of their worst games, right? Because that's where you learn the most, is when you've done the worst, is when you played a really bad game, when you threw a lot of picks, when you fumbled a lot, when you missed a lot of tackles. And go through that and see that film and see how the guys react to it, see how they break it down, see how they've developed as, one, a person, and two, as a football player. That's the stuff I'd love to see. I agree with you 110%, Josh. The stuff at the combine, like, it does sound dumb. Like, seeing how high an O-lineman can jump, that's great. They never jump in a game. If they jump, it's a penalty. Like, it's, what I'm saying? Like, it's 5 yards. Like, it's, come on, what are we doing here? Like, it's fun stuff to look at, but at the end of the day, I think there's something like, I think they said like Sean McVay's never gone. I think one of you guys said that too, right? Like,
2018. He hasn't been since 2018. Yeah,
exactly. Like, he doesn't even care. And the no pads, Dave, is always just like the funny thing. That's hysterical. And the best thing too is, since there's no pads, if someone runs a 40 or does anything and it's not as fast, you go, he's fast with pads on. Which I've said that before, and it's kind of like a true thing. But it's funny how the two things play off each other. Bob Moore, and let's just freaking talk a little football. Let's talk some film.
All right. So looking at everything that's going on, we talked about this is a weird show because, by the way, man, I love the comment I can see on the right side there. This is Josh's better hair than Herbert right now. That's a good one. You just made Josh's day.
Holy crap!
I guarantee you just made Josh's day. Dude, if someone said that to me, God, hell yeah. Like, I'd go out right after the show.
Said. Wow,
nicest thing anyone's ever said to him. So, but this show is so weird. We bring up a topic and all of a sudden it becomes a big deal, whether it's the coaching situation, whether it's the quarterback situation, whatever. It's weird how this show kind of is very strange. But one of the things we talked about on the show, we pushed back on this whole combine thing. So look, we know the way it is. It's a waste of time. You have guys who are going through interviews all the time that aren't going to ever draft those players. You have this and that. And then all of a sudden, it seems like after that show, all of a sudden these players keep pushing back, like more so than we've ever seen, right? Everyone's talking about Caleb Williams is not going to do the medicals for all these guys. And everyone's talking about, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. And then you have a guy like Michael Penix and going, I'm in on everything because if we're here to compete, that's what I'm all about. I'm all about a competition. Come on. Because he's saying that because he knows he's not number one. He might not be number 5 as far as quarterbacks go, but he's trying to get in the head of every GM out there. Those guys are afraid to compete. I'm a guy that likes to compete. Every guy out here wants to compete. That's how they got to where they are. You can sit there and tell it all you want. It's a joke. But the pushing back thing, I'm liking a little bit. It shows the system is broken. The system's wrong as far as the way the NFL is doing this. Josh just went through guys that were great in this week, and yet they got drafted high and things didn't work out, and they're out of the NFL in a few years. But Caleb Williams is the most important guy in this draft because he controls the draft along with the Chicago Bears. Meaning, are the Bears going to use that pick on him, or are the Bears going to keep what they have? Are the Bears going to trade everything back and mess up the whole draft for the rest of the top 5, top 10, whatever it is? I like to see things a little bit in disarray, guys, because it is wrong. If it worked right, then the top 10 picks would always be automatic all-pro Hall of Fame players. And we see busts all the time. The system is wrong. It's broken. So I want to start with you, Mario, because you're in Chicago. All right. It has to be all the talk has to be Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears, trade, everything. That has to be the only thing people are talking about. No one's talking about the Cubs or the Bulls or Blackhawks or any of that stuff. That was a risky one that I threw in there, but I hit it. And then at the same time, I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, I'm going to hear what Mario says, but I'm going to tell you my opinion. I want to hear what Josh thinks. What should the Chicago Bears do? Who is their quarterback in 2024, and how does that affect the Los Angeles Chargers and everybody else?
So there was a Bears insider that we have over at the station, and he came back and said I was 90% sure that the Bears were going to draft Caleb Williams heading to the combine, and now I'm 99% sure that they're going to draft Caleb Williams at the combine. I think it's the smart reason to draft them. I think it's honestly the smart move for the Bears in terms of opening up the payroll, opening up the checkbook. That helps a lot. The thing that's going to affect the Chargers is right now, it was like reported that the Falcons are really leaning towards trying to get Kirk Cousins. So that really opens fields up for the Raiders, for the Broncos. Like it opens up for AFC teams, AFC West teams that, let's say, if they want to make that move, that could really change some stuff in the AFC West and for the Chargers. And like, I know Justin Fields is not the quarterback where, you're not going to get, it's not like getting, CJ Stroud in your division or anything like that. Like, obviously, there's better quarterbacks out there, but Chargers always struggle with quarterbacks that can run the football. Justin Fields can run the football pretty damn well. Obviously, I was in a different era, but I'm just saying, like, that could really change of how we look at things, Josh, and how the Chargers match up with other teams. So I think if Fields is officially on the trading block, I would expect, honestly, that trade happens within this week, man. I really think it's going to get out.
Yeah, I see Justin Fields going to Atlanta. I don't see Kirk Cousins going there. It could happen. You never know. But I would rather see Kirk Cousins. Oh, God, is it weird that I'm a Kirk Cousins fan? I just like him on that show.
You. I'm with you, dude. I'm like cheering for it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm really hoping he doesn't go to Denver, because I could see him going to the Broncos for some reason. But I do like Kirk Cousins. So it's always weird when a guy that you like goes to a team that you hate. I'd rather the Broncos get Justin Fields than Kirk Cousins, right? Because I think Kirk Cousins is a far better quarterback. But I think what Charger fans, what we should have been rooting for was JJ McCarthy. The reason why you root for JJ McCarthy is because if he pushes himself into the top 5, then you have a real shot at Marvin Harrison Jr. And if you're dumb enough to fall for that and get JJ McCarthy in the top 5, God bless you, because people are putting him in the top 5 after the combine. I think we're going to look back at this draft and say, this was a draft that had a bunch of quarterbacks that were projected high that didn't pan out. And Mario, if I'm the Bears, and I know we talk about the Bears a lot on the show, we should probably not do it as much because people want to kill you. I would get Caleb Williams. I would get Caleb Williams because I don't think there's a number 2 guy that's even close to him. And I don't even think Caleb Williams is as generational as people say he is. But Drake May, I'm not sold on. Michael Penix, I'm not sold on. JJ McCarthy, I'm not sold on. Jaden Daniels is probably my second favorite guy. But when he was at Arizona State, he was really just a guy. So I don't know, Mario, if I would go anywhere else besides Caleb Williams. If you're going to get the quarterback, you got to go there, I think.
All right, God, man, there's a lot, right? There's a lot going on. First of all, Kirk Cousins, I'll tell you why I don't know about Mario here, but I've watched games with Josh, and I've sat next to Josh when we're watching the games, plus we're looking at fantasy football. I'll tell you right now, Josh and I are in the same boat on this one. I hate guys that you draft and they stink in fantasy football. They kind of poison whatever my thought is of them. That's why George Kittle drives me crazy. I've drafted him a bunch of times. All of a sudden, he'll have that one game where you lose your mind and go, I'm a George Kittle fan, and then he'll let you down for like 7 of the next 9 weeks. Dude, I'm telling you right now, Aaron Rodgers is a bust on those things too. But you know who doesn't let you down? Kirk Cousins does not let you down. Am I right, Josh? You like that?
Never.
You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's why we're fans. Nothing to do with anything. Never played quarterback for any team I even like or rooted for once. The deal is he doesn't let you down. That's why I like the guy. Seems like a good dude. He burned his favorite sweater on that stupid TV show in the backyard. He was bummed out. And he had a hole in it. Doesn't matter that he has $170 million in the bank. He got the sad face. I thought that was kind of cool. I'm like, this guy's like one of us. That's what we would have done. Oh, this is my favorite shirt. Damn it, there's a hole in it. That was great. I'm a Kirk Cousins guy. Justin Fields, though, I agree with you guys. Probably going to Atlanta. Now, the question is, who's the quarterback? JJ McCarthy's not it. I don't know what this thing. Oh, yeah, after this week, JJ McCarthy really opened some eyes. What? I saw him throw the ball over a wide open receiver by 35 yards, right out of bounds. All of a sudden, that guy's better than this guy. Come on. Drake may hate to say it. You went to the wrong college. Trubisky ruined North Carolina quarterbacks forever. I don't care who you are. It's hard to believe in him when you're like, Trubisky was there, remember? We thought he was good. So Caleb Williams, the thing that scares me most is that fact that Caleb Williams is getting ripped by all these former NFL players and former NFL scouts. Now, you could say, well, they're former for a reason because they sucked at their jobs. But at the same time, if Caleb Williams is really the guy, like the Andrew Luck type guy, where we all sit there and go, oh, man, it's a no-doubter. You know, Trevor Lawrence I'd put in there too, but Trevor Lawrence's career hasn't worked out the way we thought it was going to work out. I'm not sure. If I'm a Bears fan, I'm a little bit nervous. And I don't know what they're saying in Chicago. People are saying they're nervous. Even as much as I like Jaden Daniels, and I believe he's a better player now, Josh, with LSU. I mean, not even the same guy he was at Arizona State. He played really good against quality competition, you know, and he won a Heisman Trophy, and he was in the toughest conference and all that stuff. I still don't know if I were the Bears, is it worth getting rid of Justin Fields or to sit there and say, let's make a run in a whole different situation. You trade Fields and you trade back and you just load up your entire basically base of your organization, and you set the Bears in the right order for the next, 10 years, something they haven't done, something they just never really have done as the game has gone into a passing game, which affects everything else. If the Bears decide, we're trading, all of a sudden that changes everything. What the Chargers do, what the Cardinals do, you're hearing more and more people say Marvin Harrison Jr., he might not go at number 4. It is really exciting, I think, for all of us, especially sitting at number 5, of going, we aren't looking for a quarterback, so we're just going to get the best available player.
I think the Chargers are honestly in the most calming spot, honestly, in the draft because of that. Because they're like, hey, we have a high pick, and we don't need a quarterback. And all these teams are like, no, we need a quarterback. We need the best available quarterback. Are they going to take the guy we want? Are they going to take the guy we want? Like, it's everyone, it feels like, is on edge, and it has to be really quick to the move. And the Chargers is like, dude, we're good. Like, we're just going to take the best available guy. And if you guys all want to be there and be dumb and be a numbnuts and draft JJ McCarthy, like, right there, and want to trade with us to go get him, here you go, pal. There it is. Like, we'll give it to you. And we'll go and take Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors or so on. Josh, I have a question for you. And I was thinking about this today because we brought up the Jaden Daniels. Does Jaden Daniels, are we giving him a little bit of the CJ Stroud treatment in terms of, like, remember Stroud last year, we were like, he has so many good weapons at Ohio State. Like, that was like a ding on him. And Jaden Daniels has a great weapon at LSU. And then, everyone's giving so much props to Caleb Williams, kind of same thing with Bryce Young last year. Like, do you see like a little bit of comparison in that aspect at all?
100%. And I think a good comparison to Jaden Daniels would be Joe Burrow, right? When Joe Burrow went from Ohio State to LSU and he's partnered up with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Even though Joe Burrow was a top pick, people were questioning, is it him or is it the receivers? I'm not a fan of that argument because I think quarterbacks and receivers make each other better. I don't think it's one or the other. I think you have to be good together, man. For me, Jaden Daniels is the second best quarterback. I actually saw him live last year at the Alabama LSU game, and he was unbelievable. I mean, the guy was the Heisman Trophy winner to me. He was great. The weird thing to me, Mario, about Jaden Daniels is he's not getting drafted. I think he's going to go to the Raiders. So I don't think he's going to get drafted by the Raiders. I think he's getting drafted by the Raiders players. And let me explain that. The Raiders players picked Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce is picking Jaden Daniels. He put the pressure on Tom Telesco and said, I need you to trade up to get Jaden Daniels. So what is the point of having a GM if the players pick the coach and then the coach picks the player? The GM really doesn't do anything? I think the Raiders organization is a complete mess. I think he's going to go to the Raiders, and I do think he is a good quarterback. But if I'm as a Charger fan, I'm watching this whole situation unravel with the Raiders and say, they don't have any control. The players and the coaches get to pick everything that happens. Management does not exist. I think it's a really interesting situation, but I really think this quarterback class is weak overall, Mario. And I don't think it's fair to Jaden Daniels to say, Malik Neighbors made you. I think he has to throw him open. He needs to catch the ball. They work together.
I agree with that. I agree with that as well. It's I agree with the wide receiver quarterback thing is what I should say. The Raider thing is pretty funny. It has a little bit NBA in it all of a sudden, right? The NBA where, the superstars like LeBron James can control which players come to the team, which players are off the team. That's exactly what the Raiders have created, except you have 53 guys on the roster. It's a lot easier to do when you have basically one superstar. The Raider players are running the organization. So you got this crazy, new city with the NFL in it. Plus they have these facilities that everybody talks about how great it is. It is like having your parents and living in a mansion and your parents say, do whatever you want. Matter of fact, we're just going to leave. And whatever happens when we come back on Monday, we hope things are in good condition. It's going to be a mess. This is what the Raiders do. The Raiders step in it all the time. And the rumor is that the Raiders are going to do whatever it takes to get Jaden Daniels. You know what it's going to do? To just the opposite of what I just said to you, Mario, with the Bears, you're going to ruin your franchise for years because you're going to have nothing to build upon. It's kind of like when you guys are young. Mario, you won't even remember this. The Saints one year traded their entire draft for Ricky Williams. That's kind of what the Raiders do. You know what that does to an organization when you lose your entire draft? And that's what the Raiders are doing by saying, this is what we demand. Tom Telesco's not in any better shape in that organization than he was with the Chargers. The fact it's inside of our division, right? We see a train wreck in Denver. We see a train wreck in Las Vegas. People might think there's a train wreck in Los Angeles, but it's finally getting turned around with Harbaugh. But it's crazy to think that 53 guys can act like there's no owner and there's no GM and create the next roster of a great team. Now, it's going to be a great party. And guess what? You start turning on each other when you start losing, and that's what's going to end up happening. But you can't run the NBA and the NFL the same way. It just doesn't work that way.
Do you think the Raiders will give the Chargers a call on draft day? Like, do you
Yes.
think that's a possibility? Okay, because I do too. Because if you look at the draft order, like they're either have to call Arizona or LA. I know Patriots are saying right now, Josh, that they got they're gonna go for more of a veteran quarterback outlook. I just don't really believe that. So I still think they're gonna take QB at 3. Like Tommy Boy's gonna have to give him a call. And how hard, if you're the Chargers, how hard do you make that trade? Like how difficult do you make it for Telesco to pull that off?
Difficult. If you're going to trade with the team in your division, you got to make it extremely difficult. Mario, I think the Chargers are going to have a hell of a situation where it's going to come down to they have the 5th pick and Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be on the board and teams are calling for that pick. And they're not calling, maybe they might be calling for Marvin Harrison Jr. They might be calling for the next quarterback. You're going to have to make a decision. Do we trade back and end up with Malik Neighbors or Brock Bowers, or do we take the best player available in Marvin Harrison Jr.? I know what the fans are going to say. Take Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know. I don't know. He's a great player, but if you can get more with a team that has a bunch of holes, you might want to trade back and still get a great player in Brock Bowers or Malik Neighbors.
It's okay. Now you guys got my head spinning here. So you're saying that Tom Telesco calls the Chargers and says, hey, we want to move up because there's an opportunity for the quarterback we want. Is that what you're saying?
Jaden Daniels.
Yes. Do you think Jaden Daniels would be around at number 5? I just keep thinking that cutoff is New England at number 3. In my head, until you guys just said that, I was thinking New England is the one that gets the most phone calls.
I think New England definitely gets the most phone calls, but how many quarterbacks do you have ahead of Jaden Daniels getting drafted? You
2.
got 2.
My opinion.
Okay.
Jaden Daniels at least is a top 3 quarterback.
We think that.
Yeah,
a lot of people are putting Michael Penix Jr. and JJ McCarthy up there with Drake May and Caleb Williams. And you got Marvin Harrison Jr. slotted in there somewhere. I mean, it could shake out a bunch of different ways, as we know.
All right. Real quick, the JJ McCarthy thing. All right. I understand he won a national championship and he went undefeated, all that stuff. Did you guys at all think in your mind that JJ McCarthy is, I don't even want to say Drew Brees. He's bigger than Drew Brees, but do you see him as that next guy? You know, am I wrong?
No.
If you had a choice, I'm asking you, would you put him ahead of these guys in my head? Would you put him ahead of Penix? Would you put him ahead of? Would you put him ahead of Jaden Daniels?
No.
Would you put him ahead of? I tell you what, I wouldn't put him ahead of Bo Nix. I still would take.
I wouldn't either.
I
wouldn't either, man. You can't draft a guy that threw the ball 15 to 18 times a game in the top 5. if he goes to the Patriots because they're hung up on the Tom Brady, he was a quarterback at Michigan thing too. Holy hell, dude. They're going to be the worst team in the league for a long time. Like, I really hope he goes to the Patriots. Seriously. It'd be great.
He makes sense as like a Niners backup. I think that's like his perfect situation.
I hate to say it. I just don't see him as an NFL starter. Maybe I'm way wrong. You know, I don't see him as that guy, but this position gets harder and harder to figure out. I will tell you, man, at the time the Chargers got Herbert, man, I stepped in it on draft day. I just did not see Herbert capable of doing what he does with the Chargers and with Oregon. I didn't see it the same way because there's so many games at Oregon, he'd only throw one touchdown pass in the game. And then he was running for more scores and throwing for at times. And I'm like, hold on, what quarterback is he? But man, he proved me wrong when he was a rookie. At the same time, the record doesn't show it, but it's a tougher position to figure out who's going to be that guy. And also when guys get to the league and the money kicks in, what happens to some of these guys? I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence fell into hey, I got a lot of money, so forget it. I don't know what happened to Trevor Lawrence. You can't even blame it on the coaching because the coaching staff has guys on there that won Super Bowl. So how did Trevor Lawrence, who's supposed to be a can't miss, fall apart?
I think Urban Meyer, I mean, I hate to lean on that so much, but Urban Meyer, I think, might have broke him a little bit. I'm with you. I thought Trevor Lawrence was literally like the best quarterback to ever come out of college, prospect-wise. I didn't think there was one fault in his game. Right there with Andrew Luck. I thought he was better than Cam Newton. I thought he's the best quarterback prospect literally I've ever seen, but he's not that guy. I don't think his career is over by any means, but he was so average to below average last year. You got to wonder what the hell is going on.
I think maybe he lost his confidence, but I'm with you guys. Like the Urban Meyer thing came and went, but then we saw in the first year under Doug, like it was a lot better. And then everyone, say it was this last year, they're like, oh, Jaguars, just in the betting world for the best record in the AFC is like very much alive. People were like pretty high on the Jaguars to get to the AFC Championship. Like people were really high on the Jags, and we just saw him absolutely as the bet. I mean, boy, was he just not even close to who we thought we were going to get. And it's not like his receiving core is terrible. I mean, he had Ridley and Kirk like that. Those aren't like, obviously it's not the Bengals receiver duo, but like that's not bad. You're not in the best division. And then after you're in the Jags, you're in a really tough spot because the Texans just found their guy. People think the Colts found their guy. The Titans are decades away, but you have two guys that could really make your life a living hell for the next decade or so. They're in a tough spot. The Trevor Lawrence thing is sad, and I am getting Trevor Lawrence vibes right now from Caleb. Either way, I don't know. Like, I want to say I'm not sold. Like, I'm not selling the stock of Trevor Lawrence, but I'm like on the phone with the broker right now going, hey, let's talk about some situations and ways we can get off.
Would you trade a first-round pick? Let's say if you're okay, let's play the game with the team inside our own division, like we just said. You're the Raiders. You want to move up. You can't get up in the top 3. And you go, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to call the Jaguars. We're going to try and work out a deal to see if we can get their quarterback. Do you think the Jags would even consider trading Trevor Lawrence?
No.
And if you were the Raiders, good move, bad move?
Man, that's a great question. Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this. Do you think that, if Trevor Lawrence was on the Niners, would the Niners be a better team? Could Kyle Shanahan fix him?
Yes. Yeah. I really think Kyle Shanahan can fix almost anybody. That's how good of a coach I think he is.
Yeah. Besides hiring defensive coordinators in the past year, I think he can fix anything. So, like, I think Trevor Lawrence is easy. And Trey Lance, apparently, he can't do.
Yeah. If the Raiders got Trevor Lawrence, I'm not scared, if that's your question. Like, I'm not intimidated. If the Broncos got Trevor Lawrence, I'd feel a different way. I think Sean Payton can work with a quarterback a lot better than whoever the Raiders have. But Trevor Lawrence, to me, is still a top, 16 quarterback. I thought he was a top 10 quarterback before last season.
Hey, Josh, read that question right there by Roberto. Can you see it?
Yep. Hey, guys. Love the show. It's by Roberto Castillon. I probably screwed up your last name. Hey, guys. Love the show. I've been thinking about how we play it out, and here it is. If Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, we pick him. If not, we trade out. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. If we're going to take the best player available and he's there, some people think he's the best player in the entire draft. Why not pick him? right? We already missed on Quentin Johnston last year. Let's right that wrong and add a big-time receiver. If you have Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm taking that over any receiving core in the whole NFL. I think taking that over the Bengals, right? If you had all three of those guys. So I'd probably do that too.
All right, Mario, would you take Marvin Harrison Jr. or Brock Bowers with that pick? They're both available.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay, I think I'm the only guy still going. I take Brock Bowers. You want to hear the argument back? Why? Because the Chiefs have won multiple Super Bowls with 0-star wide receivers, yet they needed that star tight end to win it. I think I take the tight end. Today's day and age, I want the tight end over the star wide receiver.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on the quarterback too. You know, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl. He never throws to the tight end. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl and MVPs. He throws to the receivers a lot more than his tight ends. I think it depends on the quarterback and the system you're in. If you have Brock Bowers, you have an advantage on every team, right? That's a mismatch nightmare. But if you have three receivers that are all pro level, how do you guard that? I mean, you literally don't have enough guys on defense.
Go ahead, Mario. I got another one.
And you have him growing under Keenan Allen, who's like we've talked about multiple times, like one of the best route runners in the NFL. I think that would just be freaking huge, man. Like I think that would just be unbelievable. To pair him with Keenan, and look, dude, we just striking out so badly with these receiver picks. Like to just get one, I think that's a little bit of for me too. Like if we could just get one right, God, that'd be good in the world. Like that would be like the best thing in the world. That's like the prom date you never kissed, and you see like 6 years later, and you finally like smooch them, and you're like, God, you're like, did it? We did it, boys. You text group, no, you don't text group chat. You just talk your football.
Yeah, I hear. If you end up with this is why I feel as a chart. I don't know how to follow that up, but
hold yourself
as a chart. Like this, I have different levels of excitement on draft day. Right, I can't wait for draft day. Draft day is better than like every other sport combined for their entire season. I love draft day. This is level of happiness, right? Peak happiness, tier 1 happiness. You get Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers. You cannot be upset if we end up with any of those three guys. Okay, for me personally, the level below that is the J.C. Lathams, whatever corner you want to fill in, Joe Alt. I'm not going to be that happy. I'm sorry. If we end up with the 5th pick with one of those three guys and we don't end up with the other three, you got to be pissed off because you know there's going to be quarterbacks taken ahead of our pick. And if you trade down, you better get Brock Bowers or Malik Neighbors. Don't screw this up. There's guys that are better than other guys in this draft. I love Keon Coleman. Rome from Washington is great, the receiver. Neither one of them is Malik Neighbors. Period.
Yeah, I two things. Mario, you touched on Marvin Harrison Jr. learning from Keenan. Did he learn from his dad? I mean, Hall of Fame receiver, right? I mean,
yeah.
No offense to Keenan, but his dad was pretty damn good. And he allegedly did some stuff that would scare the hell out of me. I'd listen to everything he said. Anyway, we'll move on from that. As far as wide receivers go and the skilled positions, dude, I want someone that makes me want to go out and feel like, you'd buy a jersey. Again, like Josh said, the offensive linemen are great. Latham's great. Alt's great. Got it. But, man, none of those guys make you go out and buy a jersey. Like, you want the excitement factor. I think they get something that gives you the excitement factor. Bolt Up Baby wrote, I think it was Bolt Up Baby. Sorry, did I only catch it a little bit through the corner of my eye? Somebody wrote that Travis Kelce was a 3rd-round pick. I got it. I understand he's a 3rd-round pick. It doesn't matter where he was picked. He's going to end up in Canton, Ohio in the Hall of Fame, arguably the greatest tight end of all time. It's a threat there for the Chargers. I don't think you can go wrong if you're the Chargers, as Josh says, you don't mess it up. I don't think they mess this up, Josh. This is the one they're going to be graded on to say, what was your resume like once you got to Los Angeles, meaning Ortiz and Harbaugh. You screw up the very first one, people are going to remember it forever and say, remember when you grabbed that guy? What were you doing? This guy was on the board, because there are guys in this draft where you say there's a ton of talent where you could see all pro for years to come. Here's the question I have for you. All right. Remember on the last show, we told you in 2025, the Chargers will have a ton of cap space. I mean, a ton. They're going to be in really good shape next year. What if you drafted Brock Bowers, like I say, at 5, and next year you chase CeeDee Lamb? Because if the Cowboys don't win this year, Dak is gone at $60 million. and they're gonna throw the house at CeeDee Lamb. But if you're the Cowboys, you don't have Dak. If I'm CeeDee Lamb, I'm like, I don't want to be here. I can't win with these guys, obviously. And now I don't have a quarterback that's at the quality to get me the ball that a Justin Herbert is. And he's young like me. And it's Los Angeles. Tinseltown. Come on. All these wide receivers have huge egos. Would you trade CeeDee Lamb? Chase CeeDee Lamb, I should say, and then spend your pick on Brock Bowers. You play the big game. The long game, I should say.
The long game. I think that's wishful thinking, to be honest. I don't think it's going to shake out like that. CeeDee Lamb's from Louisiana, played at Oklahoma, plays for the Cowboys, obviously wears that number 88. I don't think he's going anywhere. Nobody likes to be a Cowboy more than CeeDee Lamb. I'd be surprised if he went to the Chargers. I just don't see it happening, man. I think there's different guys in this draft you can end up with in the second or third round at receiver that could be great. I know a great receiver that was drafted in the third round. His name's Keenan Allen. I looked at Keenan Allen's combine results, okay? They rank guys based off their athleticism. Where do you think Keenan Allen was ranked out of all receivers in the 2013 draft off athleticism? Where do you think?
11th.
What do you think, Dave?
Ask that question again. You broke out on me. Say that again.
They ranked every receiver based off how athletic they are in the 2013 draft. Out of all the receivers, where was his athleticism?
Oh, geez. I'm gonna go 25.
Yeah, that's close. 31st. Keenan Allen was ranked as the 31st most athletic receiver, ranked number 11 overall. Do you remember what Keenan Allen's 40 time was? Does anybody remember this in the chat?
I don't.
You want to take a guess on that too?
I'm gonna go 4.7. I'll go 4.6.
4.62.
4.71 and 4.75 is what he ran at the combine. I think Keenan Allen's a pretty good player.
Dumb enough to draft that guy.
Yeah, Mike Mayock said he doesn't care how slow he is. He's a great receiver. Mike Mayock was right, shockingly.
Yep.
But my point is, when guys are talking about Keon Coleman, I know somebody just commented about Keon Coleman, Hayden, Go Bill, said Keon ran too slow for me. I think Keon Coleman is a great example of a guy that you could end up drafting because he didn't test well in the combine, but he is a great football player. You watch Florida State play, great football player. He wasn't good in the combine, but he ran the second fastest time, I believe, out of all the receivers during the season with pads on, the thing that we care about. To me, he's a guy that's better when the game's on, not during a testing period. If you could end up with a guy like Keon Coleman in the second round, when you already got Brock Bowers in the first round, you can consider that 2 first-round picks. So I don't think you can bank and play the long game on CeeDee Lamb when you have a guy like Justin Herbert that needs to win now. I mean, dude, we got to win now. We can't keep talking about like projections. We have to win like this season.
So I do agree with you. I think that chasing things wishful thinking. However, I don't mind the idea. And I think instead of CeeDee Lamb that you could probably get for a cheaper price, T. Higgins. Because the Bengals are like probably going to franchise tag him this year. They're not going to like franchise tag him next year. He's probably going to be out the door when they have to extend Chase. Remember, that is an ownership group that is very stingy with money. I think maybe you can go take a run at T. Higgins. But also, too, like we've seen from these past couple of drafts, and we saw what our mistake in not getting Zay Flowers last year, there can be really good receiver talent, like just all across the board. That it just comes pouring and pouring out. I'm wondering if we're ever going to get to an era of where receiver becomes like a running back position where it's like, dude, why pay this guy insane amounts of money when we have a young guy that we think can just be as productive, carry a lot of this guy's load, and just take that cheaper option instead. Like, I wonder if we're ever going to get to that point. I hate you guys. I hate you guys. All right, come on. Let's go up. I mean, for a second. But anyways, I wonder if we're ever going to get to that point. The other thing I wanted to bring up to you guys is the Patriots released J.C. Jackson. They got him off their books. And they now have over $100 million in cap space. And if they do this thing where they want a veteran quarterback, well, that veteran quarterback's going to need receiver options. Or if they want a younger guy, they go draft a younger guy. Why not get him a receiver option? Could they be a trading partner with Mike Williams? Like, could that be a good option right there? Now, what do we get for Mike Williams? Would Mike Williams be a first? I don't think so. But maybe like a second pick, like I wouldn't mind. So I'm just sitting here and just want to know, Charger fans, every Bold City fan, hey, maybe if you're just a fan that just likes our clips on Twitter, that's nice too. Patriots make sense to maybe do a little trade, do a little dance, maybe send Mike Williams to the Patriots. Like, could that be something that works out in our favor?
What do you want in return, Mario?
Just picks. Just whatever it is. Like I think you can argue a second maybe for him. You can flirt with a second. That's wishful thinking. Maybe like a third would probably be better option, but like just a little bit more draft capital that we could get back. And hey, that's what Big Joe is all about, right? Like he said, he's all about the draft capital. That could be good draft capital you get back from New England, who by the way hasn't been very smart lately.
What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I don't know what New England is, right? They're supposed to be the new look Patriots. But by the way, there's a question on there we'll get to in a second. They're supposed to be the new look Patriots. I don't know what they're going to get to. Look, Mike Williams is great when he's healthy and when he gives 100%. I say when Mike Williams is healthy, that Mike Williams is good 75% of the time. That being said, to me, Mike Williams plays as a number 2 wide receiver. And I'm going to go back to what you said at the very beginning, Mario, because I don't want to throw it away. The T. Higgins deal. T. Higgins is a number 2. And you just have 2 number 2s. You know what I mean? I'd like to have that number 1 guy. That's why I brought up a CD Lamb, Jamar Chase, those kind of guys. Those guys are true number 1 wide receivers. There is a difference. There are guys who will say, "Oh no, a good number 2 can turn into a number 1." I don't believe that. I believe either you're a number 1 or you aren't a number 1. And I don't think T. Higgins is a number 1. I think this organization will soon need a number 1 wide receiver for Justin Herbert. Keenan Allen's on his last few years. And I believe he's a true number 1, but Mike Williams isn't. I don't think T. Higgins is either. I'd love to see in a perfect world, Mike Williams is healthy, never gets hurt, and continues to get better, and is obviously a threat because he's a great athlete and he's very tall and can go get the ball. I got it. But you just can't rely on him. He misses so many games that is very, very frustrating, for this team. Always has been.
Yeah, I agree with Matthew Fernie. He says Mike Williams with his contract is at 3-4. Get a pick in the 3rd or 4th round at best. And I agree with that. I think you got to take advantage of a dumb team like the Carolina Panthers, who might give you a 2nd round pick for him because he's from that area. They need receiver more than anything.
Big time.
And they need receivers over there. So let's get to the question from Barnaby Hitzig. And I hate you for this question so much. He said, Dave, tell me something you love about Bosa. Josh, something you love about Auburn, and Mario, something you hate about the Bears. Love the show.
That's a tough question right here. It's a tough one. I'm going to answer Josh's question first, even though I wasn't asked it, because I'm going to tell you a story yesterday. Okay. Nobody hates Auburn more than me. I know Josh hates Auburn. Josh and I realized we just hate anyone that's associated with the color orange. But literally, I was driving down the street yesterday. My wife's in the car. Dog's actually in the car. And I see this little SUV, and it's big on the back, big tire, cover with the Auburn logo on it. And I said, that is it. I said to my wife, I know you don't want to be a part of this, but I can't just drive by the car like that's not offensive to me. And I said, I'm rolling down your window and I'm going to yell something and stick my finger out the window. And what bothered me most about the car before I got to the person inside the car, it was crimson color SUV with the big Auburn orange AU on the back. And I went, what the hell, dude? Like, you hate Alabama, but you bought a car the color of Alabama. Who does that? Didn't make any sense. Am I right?
Yes.
So I go around, I slow down. I'm going about 55 miles an hour, and I put the window down and I just scream, hey, and boom, I throw out the big number 1, And the lady inside arguably was 82, 83. After I did it, I'll go, oh boy, maybe I crossed the line. True story. 100% true. Did not expect that. Like, she probably was a grandmother in town that said, can I borrow your car so I can shoot over to the grocery store and make something for you and the kids? You know what I mean? Like, I completely crossed the line. I got it. So that's my side of the Auburn thing. Also, I threatened to beat up the mascot once at a basketball game. Long story. So say something nice about Bosa. His brother's a hell of a football player. He really is. And his girlfriend is probably going to be his wife, is smoking hot. So there you go. I did it. I got it done.
Proud of you.
Something that I love about Auburn, I'm not just saying this because just to be funny or something, Barnaby. I literally don't like anything about Auburn. And I'm not even trying to be a smartass. I really don't like anything about Auburn. I don't like the colors. I don't like the campus. I don't like the stadium. I don't like the big new scoreboard they have. I don't like the people that go there. I don't like that it's on the plains. I think that's weird that it's on a farm. There's nothing I like about Auburn, Barnaby, and I'm being serious. The one thing I might give them credit for,
Charles Barkley. What about Charles Barkley?
I like Charles
And
Barkley a
Bo
lot.
Jackson.
And a big Bo Jackson fan. There you go. Thank you for saving me. Big Bo Jackson and Charles Barkley fans. The number 34 at Auburn is a blessed number. Besides that, I hate everything else.
I will say, I bet the Auburn title team with Cam Newton, I would argue, probably the worst championship team we've seen in 2 decades. Like, if you put that team against any of the other ones, I bet they get just swiped.
I challenge anybody in the comments without looking at Google. Name 3 other players on that championship team not named Cam Newton. Go.
Yeah.
Go.
It's actually crazy. The receiving core, we did it one time, I think, off air. We looked it up. It was so bad. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Something to hate about the Bears. This is so easy. Their leadership is terrible. I mean, from top to bottom, the leadership's god awful. They've never been able to get the quarterback, the head coach, and the GM all on the same page. If you look at their history, it's always someone gets fired or they push away some guy to sacrifice that guy so they keep their job. So for that part, they're idiots across the freaking board. Chicago leadership just right now in sports is just not the best. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much what I hate. And I didn't know Auburn, by the way, so it's in the middle of nowhere. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's called the Plains because it's on like a farmland. People at Alabama call it the barn.
For some reason, they think they're better than everybody too. It's weird.
Is it a good school?
It is good.
Actually, it was okay. Yeah, I was about to say
it's hard. I'll admit it's harder to get into Auburn than Alabama. But which one would you rather have? Would you rather be happy on a Saturday or sad on a Saturday? You know?
Yeah. You guys have dominated the rivalry for it's been like the rivalry's been heavily your side, which I feel like that's got to be fun.
Yeah. By the way, nobody's been able to comment 3 guys from that Auburn team. Thank you.
Yeah.
Young West. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know.
Should we
what
mention
else you got?
Should we mention the Staley really quickly? Going to San Francisco. So
why? not why mention it, but why would the Niners do this? Why? Like, what is the connection? What is the friendship? I mean, that is talk about giving your friend a job. You know,
saving his life.
I mean,
yeah.
You know, a local guy here in San Diego where I'm at, in the paper today. What's he there for when it's 4th and 18 to say go for it? I mean, what the hell's he there for? I mean, why did they sign him? Seriously, his buddy Sean McVay didn't even sign him. And look, I'm all for getting a job, but what is this? This is ridiculous.
Dude, you know who's on? Holy hell. You know who's on the 49ers? Isn't Sebastian Joseph Day over there too?
Yeah.
What is up with this?
Yeah.
What is going on with that? That's weird, huh? Somebody got to look into that. Brandon Staley going to the 49ers makes no sense. Mark Trestman is like, what is going on? Greg Roman is like, that is ridiculous. Dude, I didn't even know. I didn't think Brandon Staley would be in the NFL like ever. Maybe as the guy that serves popcorn in the stands at halftime, but like not as a coach or a support staff member. It's unbelievable. I don't get it at all, Mario. I would love to hear him try to talk strategy to Kyle Shanahan. Like Kyle Shanahan has to be like, dude, you're just lucky to be here. You're just lucky to be here. Like, please leave now.
He's probably like, dude, just take notes. Just take notes on everything I do. If you want any more success, I'm doing this as a favor. Someone commented, so is Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn's actually went to Washington. He's not on the Niners staff anymore. It was crazy to me. And it was funny because I was reading about when he first got the job. And obviously, like, they're going to mention the defense side of the ball. But the way it was written, it was just funny because it was like, mentioned right away, do not worry, he's not involved with the defense. He's like an assistant head coach. Like, in that part just made me laugh. Like, you already got to like be like cautious going, hey, this guy's not, primarily on the defense side of the football. He's just more of an assistant head coach, probably will help with the defense side. I'm a little surprised. I was with you guys. I thought he would just kind of go back. I really thought the Dolphins would hire him or just McVay would hire him back because he obviously has a pass at McDaniels. It's crazy to me. I mean, these coaches always have each other's backs. I'm curious. Do you think he ever gets a head coaching job again? Like, do you think there's a time where it would be long enough before he gets one because he's stuck to Shanahan and let's say they win a Super Bowl or something? Do you think he'll or just no shot?
Nope.
No, Mario.
None of those guys.
The only way he
All
becomes
the-
a head coach is if it's college or high school. That's not even a joke. I'm being dead serious about that.
Not
What
even-
about if he
no, hold
takes
on. not
over a
even college.
defense?
No, dude. Maybe he'll be head coach of a JC, but not even.
He could be he could be like Rutgers. You know, they gave Greg Schiano a job, and he was a terrible coach in the NFL. That happens, you know.
Yeah, but he was from Rutgers. Like he started there before he went to Tampa.
Brandon Staley
You know?
went to
I mean,
Dayton. He could be the coach at Dayton.
Yeah, great, dude. I don't even know what to tell you, man, on that one. I'm shocked he has a job. Look at the last 3 Charger head coaches. None of those guys will ever deserve a head coaching job again. None of them.
No. I don't think any of them will. Honestly,
And Staley
Anthony Lynn was awful.
Yeah, Staley replaced Anthony Lynn on the Niners staff is crazy. Replaced him twice. Like if you ran into Anthony Lynn, he'd tell you Brandon Staley's my arch enemy.
What does Nick Bosa say to Brandon Staley in the building? What are you doing here? I know about you.
No kidding.
My brother
told me
threw a
lot
helmet
about
at your feet and you picked it up like a P word and a B word.
You got any other questions you want to read on the side over there that you can see?
Yeah, I got one. Brandon Hannon says Staley makes me want to change my name legally. Yep.
Jack Agnew said, quick question. What do you think of Bieniemy going to UCLA? Look, man, this is not a good deal for Bieniemy deciding to leave the Chiefs. We kind of said it before. Dude, you got to go somewhere where you have a chance to have success like you had in KC. At least someone might have given you credit for it. But you get replaced after 1 year in Washington. Washington was a disaster. They finished in last place. Obviously, it did not make you look good as genius, play caller like everyone was giving you credit for in KC when people thought it was Andy Reid. Eric Bieniemy going back to UCLA. I say back to because he's from Los Angeles. Good for him, but that UCLA program, as big of a name as it is, has no money. Meaning you aren't going to be able to get what you need to compete with the other major schools, especially now that they're in the Big Ten. Eric Bieniemy won't last long at UCLA, and hate to say it, I don't know how smart he is when it comes to calling plays. When you don't have talent around you, it's hard to make you look good as far as a coach.
Yep, I got one more question before we get out of here. If that's cool with you guys. AK has been begging us to answer this question. He said, what do we think about Dallas Turner going to the Chargers at 5? He's a great edge, and we have Thule for the future. I'm tired of Bosa. Dude, you're not going to find anybody on this planet that's a bigger fan than Dallas Turner. I love Dallas Turner. He actually knocked Jaden Daniels out of the game against LSU. He is an amazing player. I think his wingspan, they had him as the same as like Jason Tatum, like a ridiculously long wingspan, which I think is applicable for the position that he plays. I'll be so upset, dude, if they go with Dallas Turner at 5. Do not go Dallas Turner at 5. I think he's going to be a great NFL player. Go Neighbors, go Bowers, go Harrison Jr. if he's available. Don't go edge at 5. Go edge in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. I don't care. 5th pick, do not go edge. That's just my opinion.
Can I say something nuts, Dave and Josh?
Of course.
I think I'd take Turner over Alt.
Oh, 100%. But I don't want Alt either.
Okay.
I don't want Alt.
Okay,
I don't know why people, Mario, I don't know why people keep acting like it's not a big deal that Joe Alt's never played right tackle. Rashawn Slater's not moving to right tackle. Okay? Joe Alt's never played right tackle. So I don't know why people are penciling that in. Oh, he can do it. I would take Dallas Turner over Joe Alt 7 days out of the week.
Yeah, I would. He's, when you mention like the tiers of guys you'd want, like he's kind of at like my 1.5 Dallas Turner is. You know what I'm saying? We're like, I wouldn't like be overstacked, but I wouldn't be pissed. I'd be like, all right, like this is a pretty good pickup, and I'd be really excited for him to see what he can do. Also, like I just remember seeing that Jaden Daniels hit, and then I just watched Will Anderson this past year, and I think, okay, if he can be anything of Will Anderson, this Chargers defense is going to be terrifying. And like we said last couple shows ago, can they be a top 12 unit in the NFL? I think with a guy Dallas Turner, he really could. Because I don't know too, Dave, is like the jump that Tui's going to make in year 2 and how big of jump or kind of an importance he's going to have on this defense might change. Dallas Turner could help with that. But that being said, obviously the Neighbors or Brock Bowers would be a little bit more, do a little more sweetness to my tasting, I think is the saying. I don't know if it is or not.
It's going to be one of these, man. If the Chargers trade back, I mean, we're going to be disappointed unless you get, at least two of those three guys that we've mentioned, right? We're going to sit there and go, man, you traded back out of 5. But if you're able to get, for me, a Bowers and let's say a Dallas Turner or Bowers and a key offensive lineman, then we're going to go that's great. The problem is we just don't know what team might jump up and steal one of your top 3 guys. So I'm just going to guess right now what our top 3 guys are right now. You guys tell me if I missed. Not in any order. Brock Bowers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, right? Those are those. Am I right? As a show, are those our 3 guys?
Not even close. Tier 1 guys.
Mario, do you agree? Are those your 3 guys that I want one of those?
Yeah, but I would say
for me, they're above the rest.
Yeah, they're above the rest, but like Dallas Turner is really sneaking up there. I was like right behind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if they traded back, Mario, let's say they traded back and they got Neighbors and they got Dallas Turner. Would you be happy with it? When we do that show on draft day, are you like, hell yeah?
Oh, I'm a stat. Wait, so they get both of them?
You traded back and you were able to get Neighbors and you're able to get Turner.
You're not getting both.
Let's say you're able to pull the deal off with the Raiders.
Way.
There's no way. How do you end up with both? I'm confused on that. Yeah.
Because I think because the only way it works out if it's the Raiders pick at 12. That means the Raiders are grabbing a quarterback. That means there's a rush on quarterbacks. You might see 4 or 5 quarterbacks taken in the top 10.
The only thing that could actually happen where you could get 2 guys that you talked about is Bowers and Turner. But there's no way you're going to get Neighbors and Turner. Here's another thing we haven't talked about on the show. I think
Bowers and Turner, I'd be running around the block.
Oh, they will win the draft. They win the draft. They'll pull a Houston Texans from last year when they had Anderson Stroud. But here's something that nobody talks about that I don't understand. Why isn't anybody talking about the Cardinals getting Malik Neighbors? Why is everybody so sure they're going to get Marvin Harrison Jr.? I think Malik Neighbors is right there with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think it's a lot closer than people make it out to be. But to answer your question, I think they could possibly, in the slightest of a chance, get Bowers and Turner if they traded back. But it'd be nearly impossible to do.
It would be really hard. If they'd pull that off, I'd be like, I think they just watched draft day for 6 hours straight. Like, I'd be like, that was really impressive. I don't know how they did that.
There you go. All right, we're going to be back later on in the week. We don't have an exact day. Do we have an exact day when we're coming back? I don't think we do.
Friday, I think, is probably most likely, right?
Friday?
Josh is traveling. So Friday.
Okay, Friday.
I'll tell you right now, Friday. It's not.
I got a few pro days I got to go to. Got to knock out a couple pro days. And then I think Friday will be best.
I don't think
Friday's not going to work?
Nah, I got to be at a golf tournament all day. Sorry.
What about Thursday night?
Thursday night I could do.
Thursday night, Mario?
Yeah.
All right, Thursday night. Dude, it's a miracle we got
Old
this
City
show
After
off.
Dark.
I'm sorry, Mario messed up the time on this deal. Literally, man, we're just going to play what's really going on. I got up at 4 a.m, had to go to a fundraiser, pancake breakfast deal. I'm like, all right, here I am. I'm up early. I got 2 hours before getting to the show. I'm just going to go to sleep. I literally closed my eyes for 10 minutes. Phone rings. Hey, can you go right now? And I'm like, right now? Looking for my hat, grab the big coffee cup. And then I don't know what I even said the first 10 minutes. If it didn't make any sense, I apologize. I wasn't very awake, but we did the best we could. And that's the way we roll. You ever hear that saying, hey, man, those guys are playing checkers while we're playing chess? Dude, no one has ever said that about the 3 of us. We never played chess on the show.
Yeah, no. People are playing chess and we're playing Connect 4. That's definitely what's going on.
Yeah, we have trouble with 4. We're doing the best we can.
Even when I took my Vyvanse, I'm still playing Connect 4. Trying to figure out strategy.
All right, we're going to aim to be back on Thursday. Thank you again for the comments. Please give us the like button. I'm going to ask you again. Please give us the like button on there, and all the questions, man. Doing the best we can to get these answered. Man, I always feel bad when I see one at the end that says, "Hey, man, please get this question on," and then I realize we missed it. So we're doing the best we can to answer your questions. Really do appreciate the people that do take time to check in, especially here we are in the middle of a Sunday. If you listen to Bolt City Podcast, the Odyssey app, that's awesome. If you watch on YouTube, please leave comments, and we promise we read every single one of them. I try and respond to every single one. Thank you so much. So for Mario Heron, Josh Pele, I'm Dave Pele. We'll see you on Thursday as scheduled.